Joining me now, the first woman to run a winning presidential campaign in the history of this country. Senior advisor on the Trump transition team, Kellyanne Conway. And I get to say, first things first, congratulations on a wonderful, wonderful campaign and result.
Well, thank you. Winning certainly finishes a lot of sentence. It solves a lot of problems. And I just want to say that Donald Trump and Mike Pence were phenomenal candidates, and candidates matter. And I'm particularly, people always say, they stop me in the street constantly. They want to take pictures. They want to talk about the election. And they say, I'm so happy for you. And I immediately tell them all the same thing. I'm so happy for the country. And I truly am.
Yeah, I get to say amen. It's quite a wondrous moment. As I was kidding with some of my colleagues, to me, the grass is a little greener, the air a little fresher, the water a little bluer.
Well, Mother Nature actually accepts the election result because it's 65 degrees outside in New York City a week before Thanksgiving.
Well, and these appointments are, I have to say, I think are
solid.
Absolutely brilliant. And starting, if I may, with Jeff Sessions, who I've got a long-term friendship with, who I think is a magnificent historical figure in his own right, to come in and to be able to be Attorney General for this president is a great thing for the country.
It's a great thing for the country. And Jeff Sessions, of course, will be vilified and criticized by the left, but they won't like anybody as a nominee who's not one of their folks. They're still trying to relitigate the election and not accept the results. But Jeff Sessions spent about 15 years as a federal prosecutor, right. U.S. attorney, prosecuted bad guys in Alabama, certainly, and people should go look up the record. And then has been a United States senator, reelected by enormous margins, not even opposed. The only person not opposed in a primary or a general election in 2014, Lou, which means if the Democrats had had a problem with him before, they would have run someone against him. All of a sudden, it's a problem because he's Donald Trump's nominee for the AG. I know Jeff Sessions very well. I worked with him when he was a legislator in the Senate on things like immigration reform and others, and I worked with him very closely during this campaign. He's A+, and he's there because he's qualified for the job, and he's capable of doing it on day one.
And General Flynn, National Security Advisor, Congressman Mike Pompeo for CIA Director. I mean, these are just, as you say, solid. I think they are just terrific choices for the president.
They're fabulous choices, Lou, and our landing teams on transition also went into, have arrived at those particular departments also. So we feel like everything's going very well with respect to national security. Also, I know the left is upset because the national security and counterterrorism measures and the Obama doctrine, as it were, is about to be challenged significantly by these three leaders if they're confirmed, and by President-elect Donald Trump. I mean, people don't feel as safe. They feel that we're not as tough abroad.
You know, I know the left has had, it seemed at times, some sort of great fun in attacking Donald Trump and attacking nearly every Republican or conservative, and very personal, very ugly, very nasty. And yet it continues with him as president-elect, the people's choice, the man who will be leading this nation. And it's clear, they're not backing off one whit. And there's got to be a response. I mean, the national liberal media has been arrayed and aligned against the president-elect from the very beginning. There has to be a solution here.
Well, I think the solution was winning, because part of the victory was a pushback on the sort of lemming-like pounce on Donald Trump. The arguments against him were, the attacks were vicious, they were personal, they were hyper-partisan. And I think some people use words that are actually not your garden variety punditry on a TV show, but really had legal meaning attached to them, and really had, I believe, a way of characterizing him that's not only inaccurate, but that was truly beyond the pale. And if anybody had said that about Hillary Clinton, you would have heard about it. But look, this whole political correctness lost big league, as Donald Trump would say, on Election Day. And I think that had a lot to do with his overall messaging.
You know, I'm partially kidding when I say the grass is greener, the sky is bluer.
I don't know. I'm walking on sunshine.
There is as you well should, there is a different feel already in this country, in this city, which, by the way, is 7-1 registered Democrat over Republican. So this is quite a test for the city of New York. There is a positive feeling. There is an optimism. We're talking 10 days since his election.
No, it's true.
And it's palpable.
I see it. Lots of people seem to already be here in the city for Thanksgiving break and enjoying it. And I ask them when they stop me, where are you from? What's your name? And to a person, they talk about how their faith is restored in this country. They feel like the Supreme Court or the country has been saved in large part. But you're absolutely right. They felt like they were staring into 4 to 8 years of sameness, of the status quo, of just managing our decline, of not having a legitimate chance to truly shake up Washington.
Managing decline.
And that's the way that they feel. And this is why it's the people's victory. And I would just tell folks who like to listen to each other in the donor or political or media class, start listening to the people. The cues and the clues of this election were hiding in plain sight the entire time. If you went to a Donald Trump rally and you saw 20,000 people outside and 26 people outside, 20,000 inside, if you listened to his change message, if you saw how Hillary Clinton's trustworthiness and honesty numbers never budged, in fact, they worsened, those clues were right in front of us. And I'll be very curious to see what happens to those who got the election wrong. I think they should just say, I got it wrong. I'm going to listen closer to Americans, and I'm going to let this guy be my be my president and form his own government.
Well, one thing that is truly, truly exciting is there's not a thing they can do about it. He is our president.
He is our president.
And I cannot wait for what he accomplishes, what the nation accomplishes.
He's a businessman. He's accountable. He delivers. He produces. He's used to being tough, yet building consensus when he needs to. And I think you're going to see very quick action his first 100 days. This is a guy who keeps his promises. And if he doesn't, people will see him as a typical politician, so he will.
All right. Kellyanne Conway, congratulations again. And to the point, thanks for helping save the republic.